Good morning everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Jennifer. This is A Country Life. I'm so happy to have you here today. I am doing some more Christmas baking. So, did you guys hear that? That was Joe. He's like, yes! So here's what's going to happen today. I'm going to make Grandma's peanut butter cookies. This is on page 65 in volume 2. And rather than cover these in just regular sugar, I'm going to put some Christmas sprinkles on those. What I wanted to do is to make some more peanut blossoms, which I think is in this one as well. Yes, I wanted to make some more peanut blossoms, and instead of rolling them in regular white sugar, I was going to roll them in colored sugar, but I just asked Peter if they ate all the rest of the chocolate stars, and he said yes, Joe ate the last one. I thought that was a nice way of throwing his brother under the bus. So I just thought, let's do the peanut butter cookies with just Christmas sprinkles. And then I'm also going to do the Andes mint cookies, and I had to just get the Great Value ones. I've gotten these before and they're just fine. They did not have the Andes mint pieces at Walmart when I was there yesterday. I'm also going to do 50-cent pieces, which is actually in my first cookbook. I'll have to go pull that out. And then we have the cutouts. If you saw, like my last video, Peter was making cutouts using his recipe, which is actually the Peter's cutouts here, and they're going to frost those up today.
So, the two boys that did it, they should,
I decided today to use chunky peanut butter. I know Warren really likes chunky peanut butter, and I thought, let's give it a try. Once I have the shortening and the peanut butter mixed together, I'm adding in 1 cup of white sugar, 1 cup of packed brown sugar. Oh boy, it's getting worse.
What?
Just the weather is getting worse now. I'll cream that really well before adding in 3 eggs. Final step is to add in 3 cups of fluffed flour. I always like to fluff my flour in the container first. 2 teaspoons of baking soda, which I just sprinkle over the top rather than always sifting it together, and then 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Super easy. Cream it together. It'll be a nice soft dough and ready to go onto the pans. So the recipe does not call for this, but typically when I'm making peanut butter cookies, I'll roll them in balls, set them on here, and then I'll dip my fork into sugar before doing the crisscross. Today what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to roll them into colored sugars, crisscross them, and then I'm going to put a few of these little nonpareils on. Okay, I am loving how these are turning out. I mean, they're not baked yet. A lot can happen. But yeah, I think that looks so pretty. It's kind of a good reminder to me that sometimes you don't have to have any special Christmas cookie recipes. Just some of your favorites from the rest of the year, and just turn them into Christmas cookies. That way you know that if these are cookies that your family likes to eat other times of the year, they're definitely going to like to eat them at Christmas too. I mean, it's fun to have those special ones where we all look forward to having them like just once a year, like Christmas tree spritz or chocolate crinkles. I only make at Christmas. 50-cent pieces I only make at Christmas time. And I mean, that's fun too to have those traditions. But if maybe you're not much of a baker, maybe baking is not your thing, you know what? Have a favorite cookie and then just change it up for the season. That works too. One year I took the peanut blossom cookies, and rather than rolling them in regular sugar, I rolled them in red sugar, and then instead of using like the chocolate kiss or the chocolate star on top, I put Dove chocolate hearts, and that was a fun little change too. I used dark chocolate. I would not do that again. Well, I did dark and milk, and we actually like the milk chocolate with that peanut butter flavor better than the dark chocolate with the peanut butter. All right, someone's texting me here. Oh, I thought it was going to be something real. It's Shoe Sensation telling me there's a sale. Sam actually just found out that some of the businesses in town are closing right now because it is so cold. And it isn't so much the temperature right now. That sounds so cliche, but it's -10, but the wind and the gusts of wind, like just about 10 minutes ago. So it was so blustery. It was almost a little bit of a whiteout. but now it seems to have calmed down just a bit. So I don't know, we're kind of in this weird weather. Oh boy, all right, the tree is coming in. If you guys saw the last video, we went out in the dark and got a tree.
Bring it here.
Oh goodness. Careful, careful, careful. Right, we don't want to scratch up the walls and stuff.
Oh, it's perfect height.
It's perfect height.
So you can put presents
Yes,
around it.
especially some of the bigger ones, like Maria, tuck that one in over on the open side.
Yeah, where it's way open.
See where it's open over there? There we go. Okay, next up I'm making the Andes Cream to Mint chunk cookies. Yes, the Wiseman, I see them. And, but like I said, I'm just using the Great Value because that's what I found. This recipe originally came off of the Andes Mint bag, and I made sure to copy it down right away because it is just such a good recipe. So, and I really feel that the dark brown sugar is pretty important in this recipe. In my mixing bowl here, I have 1 stick, which is a 1/2 cup of butter, 3/4 cup of packed dark brown sugar, and 1/2 cup of white sugar. I'm gonna get that all creamed. Someone had asked a question in a comment the other day asking about what does it mean to cream butter until it's light and fluffy? Well, I mean, you look at the ingredients now and the butter, well, I guess just after you cream it long enough, the butter almost gets some air whipped into it and it just lightens up. And so that's what I mean by beat until light and fluffy or light and creamy. Okay, next up I'm getting...
Sorry.
I guess the garbage bag is going in. Next up, I'm getting in 2 eggs. Oh, look at that one. That didn't crack very well. A teaspoon each of baking powder and baking soda. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And I'm going to get that mixed up really well. I don't have any idea why, but with this recipe, the baking chips get mixed in before the flour. And that was just on the original recipe. When I first found this recipe on the back of the one bag, it just said stir in the baking chips and then the flour. So I don't know why. Maybe someone out there knows why we would put the flour in last. But anyway, I just do what it tells me to do. Since my brown sugar, the dark brown sugar, was pretty dry, I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of water and give it another mix. That looks better. It just looked a little bit dry. It just looks a little moist now, a little bit better. Next up, I'm going to be making the 50-cent pieces. I guess the full name is Grandma Pearson's Frosted Pecan Dainties. It's basically a shortbread recipe. So I have 1 cup of butter and I creamed it for quite a while. I'm using my hand mixer for this just because I only have 1 bowl for my KitchenAid stand mixer. And I have the dough chilling. I'm actually following the directions for the Andes Cream de Mint cookies, and I am chilling the dough. So I have to add in 1/4 cup of powdered sugar, 2 cups of flour, and just a little bit of salt. So in my experience with shortbread dough is that it's quite crumbly like this. I mean, for me, this is fully mixed. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to shape this with my hands into 2 logs, and that shaping, and I mean, it's chilly too, you know, it's still 8 below, I think. And you know, the house, it isn't like you're making shortbread in the summer where things are just kind of like warm and humid. So anyway, the butter, even though I did soften it, it isn't super soft. So the forming it with your hands, kind of the heat of your hands will help to kind of soften that butter, and it'll just get everything to kind of press together nicely. I will then wrap this in wax paper and chill it completely. All right, it's nearly 3 o'clock now. I took a little time here in the afternoon. Well, Amber dropped off Eska, so we have Eska for Christmas. And so I pulled the dough out of what we always call the airlock. It's really just kind of like maybe a 4-foot by 5-foot little entryway, but you know, there's like 2 doors, so it gets really cold in there. So I just set the dough in there, and my plan was it was just going to be in there for maybe a half an hour. I was going to get back to it because I knew it was going to freeze because it's still below 0. Now it has warmed up to, I think, 6 below. So anyway, but the dough is frozen. I mean, it's frozen like ice cubes. There, that was my shortbread dough. So it is frozen. So I'm gonna have to let that thaw now and warm up a little bit. Yeah, isn't that frozen? I'm gonna grab Peter and see if he wants to start decorating his cutouts. And I also have, you want to help him too? Okay, and then I have some frosting. So I'm going to double check the frosting here. Oh, it's got some sprinkles in it from last time. So I think as long as I fish out those sprinkles, I can maybe add a little milk to the frosting. I wanted to show you all that, so the kids were going to start frosting up the cutouts. And the other day I had mentioned in my, what video was that? The cookie exchange video. Oh no, you lost a piece. That's okay. You'll have to eat that piece. And so anyway, I had mentioned that, you know, we had really, I used a lot of sprinkles, a lot of the sugar sprinkles for the cookies. And, oh, Eska. Shh. All right, well, we're going to have barking dog here. But what I did is I just used some food coloring with regular granulated sugar, and I just shook it up in here, and it's going to work. I do like the store-bought sprinkles better, I mean, if I'm really being fussy here, because these are a little damp.
Instead of taking the spoon and spreading it,
Yep.
I put it up and went...
Dipped it in the frosting. That's perfect. I also did it for some red sugar sprinkles, too. We were just finishing up supper. This has been so much fun. We got this from a subscriber either last Christmas or the Christmas before. And it's a little set of games, and we have so much fun. Well, right now they look like they're arguing about it a little bit, but they're playing charades, and you know how that can get. But anyway, here is our second Christmas tree. We have a spruce. They put the lights on today, Warren and I think Peter. Maria, did you help decorate the tree too?
Yeah.
Warren and Peter and Maria. And Joe jammed out to music. It's kind of just a grouping of lights because it seemed like everything was only working part way. You know how that goes, right? And I love how the lights reflect in like the pictures on the wall and in the windows.
3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yep.
3 weeks?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
3 weeks, huh?
3 weeks. 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Oh, Maria's reading.
3
Christmas
weeks.
story.
All right, and my dough is finally thawed enough where I can make cookies, but I'm going to wash dishes first.
4 weeks.
Peter's going to come and put away dishes,
Yeah.
and
I just met you.
then I think we're going to settle in, and hopefully Shark Tank is on.
4.
And then maybe get back to some cookies in a little bit. All right, everyone, it's 10 to 9, and I mean, this has been thawed for a long, long time, but I'm finally going to get to doing the mint cookies. So I was just unwrapping my 50-cent piece dough. See how I just wrap it up? Well, like this. I wrap it up and I kind of roll it back and forth until it forms a log. And, you know, then I let it chill. And it is best if it's really chilled. It's still actually pretty cold. But I just get it sliced here. They don't have to be spaced real far because they're not, you know, there's no leavening or anything in these cookies. And then I also used my new rolling pin. So this rolling pin, I know that there must be a name to this. The rolling pins with like the designs. But I used a little bit of the dough to roll out and make some of the like embossed cookies, some embossed shortbread. I thought those were real pretty. Well, Merry Christmas Eve, everybody. It is, I don't know how it is already 11 o'clock in the morning. We had kind of a late breakfast, did the bacon, the eggs, the toast kind of thing. And now we're just going to start getting things cleaned up. So Joe, yeah, there he is. What are you doing? So he's just collecting the dirty laundry for me. And yeah, Christmas Eve, I mean, I'll probably still do laundry today. Maria is actually going to start a big vacuum. So she's putting the wand on the vacuum cleaner and she's going to do like all under everything. I'm going to wash up, there's a few dishes here, and then I'm also going to make some frosting. We just got an unexpected visit from some friends, and I wanted to show you what she brought for me for Christmas. Aren't these the most adorable cloth napkins? So look it is such a simple idea. 2 pieces of fabric stitched half circles with the trunk, and then the design, the adorableness comes from just ironing it properly. They are so cute. So she did some where like the point is the green, you know, just it depends on which way you iron it. But anyway, they are so cute, and I cannot wait to get the Christmas table here set. But first, what I need to do, I was going to do this a while ago. I better take that off the heat. I'm going to make the frosting for the 50-cent pieces. We're just kind of moving at, I wouldn't say a snail's pace. We're just moving at a leisurely pace. Whatever kind of suits our fancy. If we want to sit down today and visit, we sit down and visit. If I want to sit down and play Wordle, I'll do the Wordle. Actually, we did that right away in the morning, right, Maria? What was the word for today? I don't remember what it even was. What was it? I can't remember. If you do Wordle and you did it on Christmas Eve, throw it down in the comments. Because, right, it had an O, and then it had an S-E at the end. But I can't remember what it was anymore. So anyway, what I'm going to do for the 50-cent piece frosting, I'm going to put my little saucepan on the heat, and I'm going to brown very carefully 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to brown it. I'm not going to turn it black, Maria. I am just going to turn it light brown. And so as you swirl it around and it melts, all of a sudden it'll start to get sort of this little golden color. If it gets to the point where there's like dark brown flecks, it's gone too far. And good thing it's only 2 tablespoons, because if it gets to that point, then you just start over. Believe me, I've done that a couple times. I mean, I've been making these for 26 years, probably more than a couple times, if we're being honest. All right, it's starting to have that, not burnt butter smell, but there's a certain smell of almost like butter cooking. So it's all melted now. And now I'm just going to lift it and set it down, and lift it and set it down. I don't know if this is how my grandma did it, but this is how I've come to do it, so that I don't burn it. Make sure if you try this, that you have your above your stove light on, if you have one. That is important, because if you don't have it on, all of a sudden you can't. You just don't see the color turning. All right, this is just starting to brown. My pan has a little staining, so I have to be real careful with that. That I'm actually looking at the butter and not just at like the little stains or whatever on the bottom of my pot here, my saucepan. And you might be tempted to step over to the sink to grab a tablespoon of hot water while you're doing this, but trust me, just watch this. Once you take it off the heat, then you can get your tablespoon of hot water. Turning the heat off, it kind of froths up a little bit, but can you see that? How it's just like a golden brown. Don't look at the like stains on the bottom of my pot, but see that golden brown? Okay, so I want to get that over here. I'm going to put in 1.5 cups of powdered sugar and a tablespoon of hot water. And then a little bit of heavy cream. Definitely more than that. Now as this rests, it will thicken up, so I always like to keep my cream handy so that I can thin it as I'm frosting the cookies.
These are already pretty chopped.
But they need to be really fine. Tonight's menu includes fancy green beans, which is just green beans with some bacon and onion, and I'll probably put a little bit of maybe beef broth or chicken broth in with them for some liquid. We're also having a ham. I don't do anything to the ham. I open it up, I put a little water in here, set it to low, and I'm just going to cook it until it's warm. I have the onions going in the bacon grease. I already finished up the bacon. We're also going to have cranberry sauce. Last night when I went to bed, I was like, oh, the first thing I'm going to do in the morning is make the cranberry sauce so it has time to set up before supper. I didn't do that. So I'm still going to go with it, and hopefully it sets up. All right, guess what I'm doing? I am peeling off the cornflake crumble here on top because I forgot to put the cheese in the cheesy potatoes. And I don't know, did Maria say, how'd you forget to do that? It's the first word in its name. So there's a whole lot that went unfilmed because my camera card was full and my computer memory was full, and so I had to do a whole bunch of jockeying around with just camera stuff here this afternoon. Anyway, here's what I did for the casserole for the cheesy potatoes. Once I peeled off those cornflakes, what I did is I just put the cheese right on top, and then I melted a little more butter and had some more crushed cornflakes that were actually left from before because we had crushed too many, and I just mixed that up, and I put extra cornflakes to really make sure that the cheese got covered. I'm going to put these in the oven now at 325, which is a little lower than what I normally would do this, but they're going to be in for about an hour and a half, and it, you know, I don't have it in a 9x13 pan, which is what I normally would do too, but I really wanted to use this. This was my grandma's, and well, here's the thing. I can't remember if this was Warren's mom's or my grandma's, but both of them had this, and I just don't know who I actually got mine from when, you know, when they had passed away. So anyway, it's a very special casserole dish to me, and I'm sure many of you have the same one because it's been around a while. So I'm going to pop this in the oven now and just let this go at 325 for well over an hour, probably an hour and a half. The ham is in the crock pot. I cranked it up to high because it just didn't seem like it was getting as hot as I had hoped. I have the green beans with the onion and the bacon, and I also put about a half a teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon of chicken bouillon, the Better Than bouillon, in there, and stirred that around just for a little added flavoring, as well as some salt and pepper. I also made cranberry sauce, and it's pretty rare that I'll make a whole berry sauce, but I still like smashed it all up. I didn't, you know, it isn't like truly whole berry. It's pretty much just smashed all up, but it's all the skins and the seeds still in the cranberry sauce. I don't know if you guys can recognize what's on the TV by just like the sound and the music, but I think it is this Rifleman or something, Peter? What are you watching?
Yeah, the Rifleman.
The Rifleman. He loves all those old westerns. Okay, so, but I did get a little bit of a later start with the cranberry sauce, and that is why I made whole berry sauce rather than strained sauce. I just come out here, I get a little glimpse of Joe. What are you doing, bud?
Nothing.
I see you're dressed for winter.
Hold on.
Wisconsin winter. Are you looking at photos?
Let me see. Just...
Are you trying to edit?
Yes.
This is my editing software. It looks bad. Normally there should be a picture right there. We're going to have to look into this and see what you did. Oh, yeah, you really did do something. Very interesting. All right, well, I'm going to turn off the camera and figure out what he did. And we are going to get this video edited, at least a little bit of it. Well, we've got some Christmas hugging going on.
Joe!
Oh boy! Okay, and some Christmas screaming too. We're going really, really simple on snacks tonight. Seriously, this is what it is. I've got some crackers. I just keep really refilling this little Christmas tray. We have the port wine cheese. If you're not familiar with port wine cheese, it is probably like the best Christmas snack out there. This was always at my grandparents' house. We always had port wine cheese on Christmas, and then a tray of cookies. Emily's going to be bringing... What happened?
It popped out.
Oh, just put it back in. That's fine. I got the boys to put on collared shirts.
Yummy.
Does that smell good?
My life is a movie.
It is when I'm around.